Hello again, this is Matthew Miller from the ZDNet Smartphones and Cell Phones blog, and in my continuing coverage of these high-end feature phones, I've got another one from T-Mobile that I was interested in, and something that we've seen lately from Samsung is a fairly standard device for Samsung. It's a touchscreen, like with the Instinct, some of their Omnia devices on the high-end side, and now we have the Behold, T-Mobile Samsung Behold as well, which is a full touchscreen device. And let's just take a look at the hardware. As you can see here, we have the display on the front. It's a 1.61 by 2.64, 240 by 400 touchscreen display. This is actually a 1700 megahertz 3G phone on T-Mobile, which is nice to have. And if we look on here, we can see there's some light sensors up front, the speaker, the display, there's a send and end key, and a back button in the middle. There's nothing else, no directional pad or anything else. Over here we have the typical Samsung connector for charging and for a headset with the volume button on that side. Nothing up top, nothing on the bottom. There's the microphone opening. Over here we've got the lanyard opening, we've got a camera button, a lock button as well. And then on the back, as you can see, we've got a 5 megapixel camera with a flash. And a nice back. If you slide this down, the back comes off. It's a metal back. It's got a nice feel to it. Quite thin feeling this way and this way. So if we turn on the screen, let me go ahead and unlock the device. And let me go ahead and turn off the lights so we get a little bit closer look. But let's just run through some of the specs real quick. Like I said, it's got the large display. It uses the Samsung TouchWiz user interface that I'll show you here in a second. 5 megapixel camera with a 4x digital zoom, which is really not useful. It's an LED flash. Has built-in GPS, 3G as I mentioned. It'll have an on-screen QWERTY keyboard I'll show you. MyFave support, stereo Bluetooth support, micro SD card slot, and a quad band phone. It's available for only $149.99 at T-Mobile with your contract, which is actually pretty good as well. So let's just unlock it here and take a look at the now fairly traditional TouchWiz. It is a resistive touchscreen, but it does a pretty good job of working as well with your finger. They've really done something with the sensitivity, so that while it is a resistive, which means a fingernail or a stylus, it actually works quite well with just your fingertip, almost like a capacitive, which confused me at first because it was so touch sensitive. So this is kind of the TouchWiz user interface, and what we have here is, let's see. If you look over here, we can add some widgets to this screen, and what we can also do is we can move those around. So that's the time and date widget. This is kind of the email messages widget, and as you touch these, there's also haptic feedback on this device as well, so it gives you a little vibration. At the bottom, there's the phone, dialer, the phone book, the web, and the menu. But if we were to tap this, as you can see, there's a different list along these widgets here. So if I was to grab something like, say, the Telenav Navigator, I can click and drag it onto the home screen here. Also, as you can see, some of these are quite large. It doesn't really work that well. They're not really customized, I don't think, to really fit that well, as you can see there. Okay, so that's those. Let's just go tap the phone. As you can see here, we've got a Samsung kind of look and feel with the icons. There's our dialer. They got call history and different things like that. Tap on the phone book, and you can run through some of the different phone numbers and that kind of thing in your phone book. There's the web as well. And unfortunately, this web browser, it's decent, I guess, for a feature phone. There's no real customizations. With the way that T-Mobile has a lot of things locked out, right now you're not able to load up something like Opera Mini or adjust these settings or anything like that. As you can see, it does have an accelerometer, so we'll switch between landscape and portrait modes, which is kind of nice. The browser is very basic for basic internet browsing. It could be okay. And here's the menu. Now if we go to menu, this is what's actually very familiar on even the Samsung Omnia. These same kind of icons, camera, photos, videos, you can use it as a video player, calendar, messaging, music player. If we tap applications, you'll see there's a bunch of different choices here. Files, games and apps. If I tap that, there's a couple demos on there and things. And you can buy more applications through the T-Mobile store as well. Tasks, memos, calculator, world clock, converter, timer, and stopwatch. And I'll just kind of run through some of these. This is the calendar for you. As you can see, it's pretty responsive. Launch the camera. Flip it over here. And as you can see, there's quite a few camera settings as well. If I tap on setup, you can see there's several different pages of settings. Anti-shake is included as well. Like I said, it supports micro SD cards, so for storage. I'm just kind of running through some of the, let's see, it looks like there's a sample video on there maybe. We have a music video playing. So as you can see, if you're looking for a touchscreen type device, the Behold is very responsive. As you can see, I haven't been using my fingernail at all. I'm just using my finger. It really gives you that sense that it is a capacitive, but it's not. It is resistive with just a lot of sensitivity to it. So that's a quick look at the Samsung Behold from T-Mobile. One of the few rare 3G devices on T-Mobile, and one of the most powerful ones that is not a smartphone or like the T-Mobile G1, that kind of device. Oh yes, I remember I just forgot to show any kind of text entry. So let's go into calendar. Let's say it's going to create an event. Tap here to type. And so in this view, we see it's kind of a traditional phone keypad. And we have a bunch of choices, T9 as well. Now if we flip it into landscape, we get a nice, rather full-size QWERTY keyboard that we can. Now one thing I did find is when I tap on it, I think the screen is off-center because some of the letters didn't seem to be matching up exactly. And as you can see, it pops up. You can kind of see it pops up the letter under my finger, which really doesn't. It's kind of iPhone-like, but it doesn't let me actually see what's popped up because my finger is so big. And every time you do tap on it, the device does vibrate, so it does have the haptics built into it as well. Not a bad device from T-Mobile, 3G. Let's look at the Samsung Behold.